Hello guys and welcome back to another FPL video. Today we are coming back with the FPL draft battle, me versus Kanji. Kanji, say hello to the viewers.
How's it going, guys?
Nice to see you, man. Hope that you are having a good 4 weeks. I think we haven't seen each other and we have a lot to talk
Mhm.
about.
Oh, 100%. There's so much to get into, man. It feels a little bit weird to be going through a weekend on international break without the Premier League. It feels a little bit empty, you know?
Yeah, but at least we can catch up and see what happened in the past. So at least that's a good time to see what everyone is being up to. So we are going to start with your team and how it went for the last 4 weeks. As you can see, guys, Kanji here has been catching up. It was 3-0 for me. Now it is only 4-3 to me. So he for sure had a better second part of the season. So let's see what and how he did it. This is your Game Week 7 team. It looks far different from the one that we got last time. Talk me through it. Why it's
Mhm.
so different? What happened?
Do you want to just go back like 2 weeks? Like, do you want to go to game week 6 or game week 5 instead?
Yeah, okay. Game Week 5 is the week. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a completely different draft.
Yeah, it's completely different. So, in game week 5, what happened is that Salah was the main captain option playing against Bournemouth. The Holland teams definitely were probably moving to get to Salah and midfield to captain him. And this was the week where Man City actually played Arsenal. So surprisingly, Holland got that goal. He actually outscored Salah this week somehow. So the analytical teams that just don't even have Salah and just have only Holland, they actually survived. In fact, they actually beat us that had Salah, which was surprising. But when I was looking at my team in general, it just was very underwhelming. You have the likes of Eze and Bruno who are just stinking up FPL teams, not getting enough returns. They're bringing up very solid underlying data, like they're in the top 10 for XGI in midfield, but they're just not getting any points. And that's what we're looking for. And Calvert-Lewin was the type of player that fit my style. 90 minutes on the pens. He had really good fixtures, Ipswich, Southampton coming up. So I went early on him. And that kind of made sense. I'm happy to have him. Isak was my favorite differential. I still think like once he becomes fit later on, I really want to get back to him, but he's just been very disappointing. But when you think about his season last year, he's one of those 90 minutes on pens. Like I love him as a pick, and Davis as well. He's just the type of defender that's cheap, that picks up good attacking positions, very solid underlying data. But it was just a very underwhelming week in general.
Yeah,
And so I was just pretty frustrated with at this point in the season, I was ranked at like I think 4 million, and I was just sitting along those ranks where I was just like frustrated. It's like I don't know why. It's like I have a good team, but it's just not getting enough points, and so that's why when we move on to next week,
yeah.
that's where things started to sort of unfold, where I had the
Oh,
injury to Alexander Isak, and I was just like that was something that just tipped me over the edge. I'm like, I have Bruno, I have Eze, like, I didn't really like my defense as much, and so I was thinking to myself, like, I just need to get rid of these guys, and I just needed to have, like, a fresh squad and just restart. Like, after, like, 2 or 3 weeks of, like, watching the football, you're sort of getting a better perspective on your team, you know what I mean?
for sure. Yeah, yeah. I agree
Yeah, and
completely.
so far yeah, and so far in the season, Holland had been on fire.
Yeah,
But even still, even on wild card, I still went without him. I
yep,
just think at the price of 15.0, you can consider going against him if you nail the other picks, as you've seen in the last 2 weeks where Holland has blanked when
yeah,
most people are captaining him, right? We'll get to your team and we'll discuss Holland when we get there.
yeah,
But
yeah.
because he's blanked, I've been able to spread my money across the squad. But unfortunately, I still kept Bruno Fernandez on the wild card, bro. Oh my
Yeah, why?
God.
Why the
How
hell
do you
did you
feel
do
about
that?
him, man?
Why did you do that?
Yeah, you know what, man? Like, I'm a data first player, and I
Okay.
just wasn't watching enough of Man United, and that's why I kept Bruno on the team. Like 90 minutes, penalties, nailed to start, but bro, this was a terrible decision. And like every time I was posting my team, showing it to my different friends, and posting it on Twitter and the spaces, everyone was berating Bruno. I was backing him up, but bro, that was a bad decision. In fact, like going into the next week, I just minus forward him out. Well, I considered taking like going into next week. As soon as I found out that he had the red card, I just spent the transfer on it before we even heard that the ban was going to get rescinded. Like before we heard that, I already just transferred him out to Brennan Johnson. Like I was just tired of owning him, bro. Like, bro, 13 points in 6 weeks is insane
Yep.
from a guy that's like 90 minutes on pens. Like that's just bad luck. And maybe I just wasn't watching enough games, but I'm glad to get that garbage out of my team. But
Yeah.
looking at my wild card, double R from defense plus Trent. That's the advantage of going for the premium guys when you don't go for Holland. And then I'm going for Saka plus Palmer on the wild card. Bruno and Bowen are just my like value like picks that I think are good longer term picks because Bruno 90 minutes on pens. Bowen is like also 90 minutes with no European football. And then Bumo is just the most obvious pick in the game. He's the only essential player in the game. And
Yep.
Solanke was like my key cog in order to cover Spurs' attack because I was looking at the fixtures coming up, and Spurs are ranked first for XG on the season. So I knew I had to get Solanke in my wild card. And Cunha and Calvert-Lewin rotate almost perfectly, where you'd have like Cunha next week against Brentford, and you have Calvert-Lewin against Ipswich, then you have Cunha against Brighton, and then Calvert-Lewin against Southampton, and then you
Yeah.
just play Cunha every week from game week 11 onwards. So the roto was really good there, and then eventually I would just downgrade Calvert-Lewin. But Solanke's just I would just downgrade Calvert-Lewin later, and then Cunha would just become my main starting striker. So alongside Solanke or whoever I would upgrade him to. So the structure of the team is really strong, you'd say, right?
Yes. Yeah. What about Haaland? Do you want to get him? I see in game week 7, I started with it. You added Brennan Johnson, by the way, a pretty good transfer. In my opinion, Foden as well. I like it a lot, like literally a lot. For me, you said Mbum is the only essential player in the game currently. I would tend to disagree. If you know wildcard, for me, Palmer is the second most nailed player. For me, Palmer is Mbumo, but on steroids, like he's 90 minutes.
Yeah.
He's without European football, and he's just a better footballer in general. Like, 1-to-1, he's just a better guy. I know Mbumo will keep scoring, and he's pretty much locked in everything that I do as drafts or as teams. But Palmer, man, he is involved in everything. I mean, I cannot describe it. I thought that last season was lucky, but this guy is just football in his genes, and that's it, in my opinion. Pretty solid.
Yeah, 100%. Like he had 10 penalties last year. So it was fair to think that he was lucky, but he's continued that form into this season and he's been untouchable, really. Probably the second best premium alongside Holland, of course, right?
Exactly, yeah. I'm even considering bringing in Palmer for the next 4 fixtures, which is awful for him, but still I quite like him, and I think that it's the same like bringing Trent for United, when I did it last time. It feels exactly like that, but just the player is so good. What pushed you to
Yeah.
Flecken, by the way? Why you decided on Flecken? I haven't seen
Oh
him in a
wow,
lot
you know
of...
what? This is a really great question because when I'm looking at my team, he's actually my biggest weakness,
Yeah.
realistically. Because like you look at the midfield, like Foden, Palmer, Saka, Bumo, those picks sort of
Yeah.
explain themselves in itself. Like Cunha has like the best fixture run. Solanke and Brendan Johnson are like my differentials for now. Like they would eventually move on. Like I have a love affair with Alexander Isak, so I would want to switch Solanke to Isak later on, and Brennan Johnson is the guy that I would probably maybe downgrade or upgrade depending if I can find some money. But the idea is that I think I made a mistake on my wall card, which is if I play Gabriel and Trent every week, right? That means
Yes.
I'm rotating Saliba with Rico Lewis. If you scroll
Yes.
down a little bit, you'll be able to see my bench. Like I have Rico Lewis on the bench. Like my team is very deep because I don't have Holland, right? And so what I was thinking is originally that I would be playing Saliba in some of the easier fixtures against Leicester and Southampton, where of course he did blank, but on paper those are great
Yeah.
Arsenal
Amazing.
defensive fixtures.
Yes.
So we live with the result. Like we've played FPL long enough to know like this is in the realm of possibilities. It can
Yeah.
happen. Fine.
Of course.
Can't even be mad about it. So the only issue that I have is that I think I'm spending too much money on my defense. Don't you think?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, especially for a
Yes. So I
rotating
think
pair.
yeah, I think I made a mistake there, bro. I think I should have gone for Raya in my goalie position instead of Flecken, and then just gone for like a 4.5 defender and then rotated that spot with Rico Lewis, right?
Yeah, it would have been 0.5 at least saved from that perspective, as because Raya is 0.4 cheaper than Saliba, let's say, but you would have been able to find someone for 4.4, 4.5 to put into the lineup and rotate with Rico Willis. I don't even think it's worth rotating Willis. Like, you cannot predict where he will play and when he will play, so maybe he starts in the harder fixture, maybe he starts in the easier ones. I got Willis, you see it in a bit, but I picked him and he is not going anywhere and he is not leaving the site generally. I don't think I will be ever rotating him. Like, it's Man City, it's Pep Roulette like 24/7.
Mm.
So yeah, I took the risk with Willis, so I'm going to take it every week. For me, maybe if you even put Raya and a 4.0 like Van der Beek or something like that, it would have been even
Mm.
better for you. As Van der Beek is equal to Flecken, in my opinion. So if you're willing to
Yeah.
give the time to Flecken, you would have been willing to give the time to Van der Beek. But apart from that, I don't think it's that big of a flaw. You have a proper defense. Now you don't have a wild card for like 11, 12 weeks. So you need your depth and you need your bench. UCL is going to happen for a lot of those sides. You may play sometimes 4-4-2 or 4-5-1, depending on injuries and stuff, just not to waste transfers, in my opinion. So you can rely on 2 Arsenal, 1 Liverpool, and 1 City defender fairly easy, especially when the City midfielder is playing, defender is playing like a midfielder. Yeah. So for me,
Yeah, for sure.
I
Like
think you
Rico's
did
a great
okay.
pick.
Yeah, you did okay
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Rico's a great pick. I just think like I don't know if I want to play him every week. Like if you click on the I button for Rico, we could see the fixtures come up. Like if you look at the fixtures, for example, from now until later, like you can see from 8 to 10, I think those are really good fixtures. Then
11
I think
even,
from
yes.
11, I would include Brighton. I think that's a bad fixture for him. So 11 to 17, I don't think there are good fixtures. But then if you see like 18 to 22, like if you see that run, there's Everton, Leicester, West Ham, Brentford, and Ipswich in that run. So like
Yeah,
I think there's a really good run to target Rico and say, hey, from 8 to 10, I'll play him. And then 18 to 22, I'll play him. Maybe even in 14 and 15, where he plays Nottingham Forest and Palace, I would play him there. But
yes.
those other fixtures in between, from 11 to 17, I'd look for like another defensive option. And that's where if you click on the Wolves fixtures,
It's 8
you'll
Nuri,
see
yeah.
Wolves have very good fixtures. Yes, Aiden is like the perfect player because in game week 11, he has Southampton. In game week 16 and 17, he has Ipswich and Leicester. And
Yes.
Aiden picked up 4 attacking returns already. And I don't expect many clean sheets, but like that's kind of the move that I'm thinking about in my head. But that would be for a -4. And that's my biggest regret on wildcard. Apart from that, like I really like my team. Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
just the only regret. I wish I had that. But apart from you can't have everything. Like when
Yeah,
you make
yeah,
your
of
wild cards,
course.
you're not gonna be able to nail everything. So but I'm happy with my midfield. You see, like when you compare it to your team, when we compare my team to your team, specifically in midfield, which we'll do in a minute, you'll see how much stronger mine is. Like I have
Yes, of course.
Foden, Palmer, and Saka and Bumo. You see?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, I agree. And I wanted to ask you, what are you going to do with Haaland, man, for the next 4 fixtures? What is going to go there?
Well, to be honest, I think the only fear is just with captaincy. Like I don't have any fear about Holland in general. To be honest,
It's
he's
not a
very expensive.
slight, it's not a slight fear.
I mean, yeah, it's not a big fear for me either. Like, I think if you're playing with this structure, you don't have
Yeah,
anything to worry about. You just have to nail captaincy. For example, like Foden, when he plays Southampton, I will captain him. And
yeah,
then I think when Son plays Ipswich in game week 11, I'll captain him. So I'm just focused on game week 8 for captaincy and game week 10 for captaincy. Those are like the riskiest ones for me. So once I get to game week 12 onwards, I'm just Palmer captaincy almost every week.
yeah, okay,
So I
yeah.
just need to focus on those two, and then I don't really worry about it. Like Holland will get his points. I will probably get a red arrow, but I think my structure is better long term anyway. So just live with the
Yeah,
results for me.
yeah, yeah. The thing about that is you have to nail the captaincy like you did with Saka, like to get it right. That's my only concern for your team. Is like if there was a time to go against Haaland, for me it was going to be after you mentioned after 11, like Spurs,
Yeah,
Liverpool, Forest, even United. Those games can be tricky, not because they're going to be especially hard for them to score, but still it's a bigger opposition than Southampton, Wolves, who have been
oh
conceding for
yeah,
fun, and Bournemouth. Like City most probably will play Doku or Savinho on the right, and I'm too worried about 8 Nuri defending and someone crossing the ball to Haaland. And yeah, it's just for me those 2 fixtures. Avoid Bournemouth. Bournemouth is semi-hard in my opinion for
mm.
City. Bournemouth have not been a bad team in no shape or form. I think they have been pretty unlucky. But Wolves and Southampton, for me, they are the biggest dangers that are coming to your rank as a whole.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
100%. I
yeah,
don't expect green arrows in the next 2 weeks.
yeah.
Like I do expect to get red arrows, but there's a world where Holland can still get a hat trick and I can still get a green arrow.
Of
So
course, with Foden
like that's the thing.
assisting 2 and scoring 1 as well, it's a green arrow for you. And Palmer doing his stuff and Saka doing something. Of course, there is a lot of things. Like I will move swiftly to my team. As you can see in game week 7, I captain Haaland because he played Fulham at home, and it was a mistake. So comparing mine
Mm.
to yours, the goalkeepers for me are equally bad. Like Flecken hasn't kept
Yes.
a clean sheet. Henderson is just bad in general. So I think it's the same. Gabriel and Trent, I have them both as well, and Rico Willis, as mentioned, I feel pretty okay. But on the bench, I have Aina and Robinson, who is like, in my opinion, a good coverage. So for the budget, I'm going Aina and Robinson for me are good, especially if you look for Aina fixtures. You can play him against Leicester, you can play him against West Ham, then against Ipswich you have options. Then for Robinson, Everton is there, Palace, Wolves. You have bits of bobs in here and there if you want to own those defenders, and they pretty much covers each other's fixtures, bad fixtures. Then in midfield,
Yeah.
I've got Saka and Mbeumo just like you. As I have been here since the start, I just haven't found an opportunity to change him. I wanted Bowen or Madison for last week in general, but I felt like for the start, Rico Willis, I needed him more. In hindsight, that was bad because Pau Torres kept a clean sheet against United, and Pau Torres was going to be the playing defender last week, and Eze was going to leave for Madison or Bowen, who got an amazing 2-week span of fixtures, and they were doing pretty well. But yeah, I just wanted that second City player to start and get into. Rodgers and Smith Rowe are just worse than Palmer in any shape and form and stuff. They're just worse. Both of them together maybe will not get the same points in a week like Palmer. Up front, Haaland takes everything from my budget. The captaincy option was 50-50. I'll get back into the second. Havertz doing pretty well, like scoring in every home fixture so far, which has been good for me. In away fixtures, he has been blanking, but I expected him to blank either way. So yeah, he was there for that. And Vardy was just a mistake. To be fair, Warsen, Dewap, several more players, I think Raul I could have went with. They were just better, but I didn't want to get triple Fulham. I didn't believe in Ipswich much, and Wolves just had a bad fixture run. Still, there is time for salvation. Southampton next week away, then it's Ipswich away. I think he can salvage himself and score an odd goal here and there, but it's not great. Last week, honestly, if Saka in game week 6 made something more than those 3 points and did the assist or something like that, or the 10 points that he got and then got removed, I think, like he got an assist, then got removed. If that was the case, he was going to be my captain in that week. I just went recency biased because Saka was just not involved in the game. Not that involved that I would liked against Leicester. He was assisting.
Yeah, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question about that. So right now, if you look at Saka's underlying data, if you click him,
Yes.
you'll be able to see that in that match, he picked up 1 expected goal involvement in that game. Most of it was XA. So none of it was really XG.
Exactly.
So, and like that's what he's been doing so far this season, getting assists. People say Saka's not that explosive, but on paper, it's hard to argue against that Southampton fixture. Like it genuinely just is like the best fixture on paper at home. So I'm surprised you went against him.
Yeah, I went against him because of those assist metrics. Like when I tend to watch a lot of the Premier League football, I'm not a stats person. I'm more of a eye test person compared to you. So I went and just seeing the games and watching Arsenal, Saka just feels isolated on that right flank. Like he does the Robin run, making a skill move, then cutting inside and shooting with his left foot. That is on repeat every time for him, at least in my books. The assists were there, pretty good returns. He was on 3 bonus in a game where he didn't do anything almost until the end, and still got a bonus point for doing nothing. Arsenal scored 4 goals. Justin scored 2 for Leicester, and still Saka finished with a bonus point. For me, that is a lot of creativity, a lot of good things that he's doing, but until then it was only 1 goal, and that goal was against Wolves, who are the worst team. In hindsight, Southampton are maybe on the same level as Wolves defensively, but in the first 60 minutes of the game, it didn't look like Saka was scoring, man, or doing anything like that. They were just not doing anything until Southampton scored. Arsenal didn't look like Arsenal. There was maybe a bottom side of the table fixture, in my opinion. Wow, Haaland felt isolated too, but I just didn't want to lose a lot of ranks. I got a green arrow in game week 7, so game week 5 and game week 6, it was a pretty bad run of fixtures for me. 2.3 million, then it's 6.2 million in game week 6. It was an awful week where Palmer scored those 4 goals and I went with Saka captaincy. I didn't have a single double-digit return, and then I was like, okay, I'm not going to bet against Haaland. Saka is differential enough. If he does anything, I will get the points and I will be happy. And I'm just doing for Haaland just to do something. Even for those 2 points, I was going to be happy. In hindsight, even though that week 7 was on paper bad, it would have been way worse and it would have been way better. Like, I don't know if you watched the Liverpool game versus Palace, Eze missed that sitter of a chance, in my opinion. And I was happy that he missed it because I'm a Liverpool fan and I don't care if he's in my team. If he plays Liverpool, I want him to blank. And I was like, okay, Trent clean sheet is enough. So I was pretty okay with my team. On the bench, at least the things on my team is that I'm getting the bench order right every time. I don't have anything on the bench that is doing better than on my team for the last 3 weeks, which is okay. With 14 playing players, I think that is good management. And I took a hit in order to bring in Gabriel. I took several transfers to finalize my squad depth in order to survive as long as possible without a wildcard. That was my plan in that span of 4 fixtures, to prepare my team for a longer run of fixtures in order to just be ready and not to trigger the wildcard and those injuries not to affect me. Because as you were mentioning, that Isaac injury, if that happened to me as well, I would have been pushed into the wildcard because the depth was so low. And yeah, my plan in those 4 were to build the depth. I know it's not amazing structure because of 15.4 million Haaland in my team and a 7.1 million Trent. That is just taking budget, but still I feel pretty confident into the next run of 4 to survive. And after that, most probably trigger the wild card in 12, just to be ready for that turn of event of Arsenal and Chelsea. Specifically, those 2 teams will be the target. And yeah, so let's bring the discussion for the next 4. We can see that the next 4, it's pretty red for a lot of the teams. What do you feel is going to be the beneficial part of the next 4 weeks? Where do you see the upside and what do you believe is going to matter next 4 weeks?
I think the key is actually going to say that, hey, you're going against Palmer right now. He's like the highest effective ownership against you, and he has Liverpool and Arsenal in this run. Man United have actually been playing very solid defensive football, so I don't think he needs to, even Newcastle as well. So I don't think he's going to haul in any of these games. Of course, he can get points. It's Palmer, but you're happy to go against him at this point of the season. There's no need to bring him in, I would say. So if I was in your position, I would hold for the next 4 weeks and then bring him in for 12. So I think that's what I would do in that spot. I think when I'm looking at Man City, that's where the points are going to come from. Southampton, Wolves, you're sitting pretty with Holland. You can captain him the next 2, 3. You can captain him the next 4 weeks, honestly. I guess the question I wanted to ask you is, in game week 10, Liverpool are playing Brighton at home and Man City are playing Bournemouth away. Are you going to be tempted to switch Holland to Salah to captain him, or would you just captain Holland?
If I'm to switch to Salah, honestly, I would have to wait on the wild card for 12 because it's Southampton away. And after that, I would like to move away from Salah. So that's the thing that's bugging me a little. In order to fit in Salah, I have to sell Haaland, of course. Selling Haaland, maybe I will need to get someone else from Man City to cover those 2 fixtures away from home. Because without an attacking player, it's not going to happen, man. From City, in those 4, if I'm without an attacking player, just not happening. And if I keep Salah for these 3, I can manage it, I can do it, but then I will have to find a way to fit in Palmer here. So yeah, I'm not going to do so, and I will try to find a way to fit some Arsenal players for those fixtures as well at the top. So that's my worry here. The next 4, if we avoid City fixtures, and maybe Manchester United, are pretty underwhelming if you ask me. The best fixture run is for Everton, for Ipswich, for Leicester, for Forest, for Southampton, for West Ham, from Wolves. It's the bottom of the teams that are currently with the good fixtures apart from City. Of course, let's not forget City. Even though it's 3 away from home, it's still City. So I see
Mhm.
them playing. I just don't know where to look for an upside. I'm in a little bit of a predicament currently. I don't know what to do. Some teams are having a
At which
good
spot?
run. What? At which spot? At every
Like
spot.
which position?
Like defensively,
Oh, really?
I'm okay. If you ask me, Gabriel, Trent, and Lewis can survive everything.
Yeah, fine,
Like
bro.
Trent, I will play him in every fixture. Like Chelsea, Arsenal, Brighton, Aston Villa. Even though three of them are pretty, even the four of them are bad defensive fixtures. I'm not selling Trent currently. Last year he did
Same.
pretty well against those teams in the upper side. Like that's where he got the upper scale compared to Van Dijk and Konate and the other
Exactly,
defender.
bro. Do you
Yeah.
remember last year Connor Bradley got 1 goal and 2 assists against Chelsea? So Trent would
Yes.
have got those points, and Trent also got the assist to Salah against Arsenal, and he scored the goal against Man City. So
Yes.
Trent's
Exactly.
fixture proof. Like there's no need to bench him.
Yes. Gabriel the same. Bournemouth, I'm keeping him. Liverpool, okay, they're going to clash with Trent, but whatever. Newcastle and Chelsea, even though they're away, they've shown that they can defend even against the best ones. So I'm keeping him. And Rico Willis with that fixture run, defensively, I'm not
You're
looking
fine.
to improve. I have Aina
Yeah.
and Robinson to cover, so that's pretty solid. Then in midfield, if you look at my team, I have Mbumu, who is not going anywhere, of course. I have Rogers, who on paper has Bournemouth, and after that is Spurs and Liverpool. So most probably he is
Mm.
leaving the side at some point. I'm not looking to keep him. Maybe from here I would tend to invest. Then Smith Rowe, he has a good fixture run. Everton, Brentford has conceded 3 against Wolves. So even though Brentford are
Mhm.
scoring, they're conceding. So I can keep Smith Rowe, especially at home. Then he has Wolves at 12. Even if I don't wildcard powers away, I can keep Smith Rowe as a cheap enabler. I don't mind that. Saka is going to leave most probably. And here is the biggest decision for me. I'm keeping Vardy, of course, for the next 4 because, oh, I cannot click the eye. I'm keeping him against Southampton, against Ipswich, even against United and against Forest. I can survive with Vardy and I don't need to take a look. Havertz is the guy that I'm most willing to sell after 8, to say the least, and I'm looking at Suwanke as a pick. I think he's a good guy, but then I don't know what to do with Saka, man. Like, should I keep him? Is he fit for 8 at all? Should I triple stack Man City? But if Man City doesn't perform, my two most expensive attackers will be from City, and I will have a blank next to my name. Then if I get Son is currently injured. I can reach Palmer, but
Mm.
as you mentioned, it's not ideal to have Palmer. And then everything else is just a downgrade. I don't know what to do with that premium spot.
Before we move on to like Saka and Havertz, like what do you think about Eze? Like right now he's been underwhelming. He plays against Nottingham Forest, so then he has some good fixtures against Spurs, Wolves, and Fulham. But then he also plays against Arsenal and Man City later on, so it's a pretty mixed run. So like, are you considering to hold him? Because he's like the budget player. Like he's good. He's also potentially on penalties. He's on the set pieces. Like he's a good pick. It's just maybe you just have bad timing with him. I'm not sure what I would do in that spot.
Yeah, I'm willing to sell as well. So let's add Eze to the
Mm,
mix as well. Like, I'm
yeah, because
willing
I'm
to
just trying to
hold,
think
I'm
like,
willing to sell, I'm willing to do a lot of things with that team. Currently, like Haaland
mm,
and Mbeumo are the two guys that I'm willing to keep most. The rest of the 5
yeah.
guys can be easily rotated from the
Yeah.
team,
I
but
I don't wanna touch your I don't wanna touch your defense, I don't wanna touch your goalkeeper, it's not
yeah.
worth the transfers there. We'll lock in Mbeumo and Holland, like, you're fine there. So are you looking to keep Holland, until 12, or are you looking to keep him for, like, the rest of until you wildcard later?
Uh, if I wildcard on 12, I'm willing to sell, but with a plan to bring back in 18. If I'm
Mm,
not
okay.
wildcarding, I'm still willing to sell. Like for the next 4, I'm looking to captain him. I don't think I will be
Yeah.
season holding Haaland, but still, if he does score a lot of goals in the next 4, I might consider him as to stay. But yeah,
Yeah.
it depends on form basically. And to City's
Yeah.
fixtures, like two of the most important players injured, if a third or a fourth one goes away, it becomes pretty hard to keep Haaland.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's interesting because long term, Saka and Havertz are really good picks.
Yes.
Or, like, if you spend transfers on them, it's like you're gonna get points in the short term, but you'll probably want them back later, right?
Mhm.
So you're kind of in an interesting spot where maybe you should consider just locking in the wild card in game week 12, and then just moving away from both Saka and Havertz. And you can look to sell Eze on the wild card in 12 as well. Because if we look at Eze, I think his fixtures are like Spurs and Wolves. Like those are good fixtures for him.
Mhm.
But then in 12, it's not as good, you know, because he
Yeah.
has Man City and Arsenal too. Like you can just get rid of him and then bring him back. Like that run from 18 or Eze, like 18 all the way down. Like that run is amazing. Like I want Eze at that time, bro. Like
Yes.
he has like Ipswich later too. So I think wildcard 12 makes a lot of sense for your team.
Yeah.
And
I'm
you could
I'm
even look to just
95% walked for that. Yeah.
yeah. So then okay, so then we're just locking in Mbumo, Holland, and why don't we just make Rogers like your eighth attacker? Because if you go back to Rogers, right, he has some two good fixtures. I think he has Bournemouth and then Fulham, right,
And
and
Spurs.
then he play. Spurs, it's not a bad fixture, bro.
Yeah.
Liverpool, I mean, I would expect Watkins to get something probably against Liverpool, but I don't know, man. It's a mixed run. And like you can I think if I had Rodgers, I would bench him in 10 and 11. Like as my
Yes.
differential, I don't want him playing in those games. So, and you have Smith Rowe right on the bench. Does he have good fixtures in 10 and 11?
Fairly.
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're happy to just play him. So I guess like Smith Rowe rotates pretty well with I guess Smith Rowe rotates very well with Rodgers, so I don't think you need to spend a transfer on those guys. So you have four players that are locked in attack, and I
Yeah.
guess you would look to just bench Vardy maybe in game week 9 against Nottingham
Probably. Yeah,
Forest.
probably. And then play Rogers and Smith Rowe because they've got
Exactly.
Rogers got Bournemouth while Smith Rowe got Everton. Yes. So I'm willing to rotate
Yeah,
those three in the
yeah.
next four
So you're
fixtures.
happy.
Yes.
Yeah, you can't really complain. So you can keep Vardy, Smith Rowe, and Bumo, Rogers, Holland. So now we just need to figure out Eze, Saka, Havertz. Now I think Eze you just keep because he
Yes.
has Spurs and he has Wolves. Just keep him, and then you can walk him out. So I guess the only question is based on Saka and Havertz.
Yes.
So now you're looking, and this is like the big money decision, right? I think you should really consider Spurs. Now, Spurs have really interesting fixtures because if we look at Son and we look at Solanke in the fixture run, they have West Ham at home. Then they have Crystal Palace away, Aston Villa at home, and Ipswich at home. And I'll tell you in advance, I'm captaining his son against Aston Villa and against Ipswich. Like he has a very good season record against both teams. Last year, he scored a hat trick against Aston Villa of offside goals, and in the second match, he scored 2 goals and 1 assist. So he had potentially 6 returns against Aston Villa last year. In the Ipswich fixture, we just saw what West Ham did to Ipswich, and Spurs have the most XG in the league. So I'm going to be captaining Son and definitely in Ipswich, 100%. So I would definitely consider Son. But the difference between Son and Foden is hard, bro. Like that's a tough decision because yeah, we know that Spurs are the early kickoff, right? So we will get the news if Son is starting or not.
Is he fit?
Yeah, so there is an update from Paul O'Keefe on Twitter, and he mentioned that Son and Richarlison are expected back in training over international break, so they should be fit and available. We'll know the news on Son. Like we'll hear about it right before the deadline. We'll know if he's going to
Yeah.
start.
Ange
If
is
he's
at
going to start,
least
I would.
saying like
Yeah.
he is good on
So the
those
question
updates.
is, yeah, the question to ask is it's a very simple question. Like, if we hear that Son is fit, I think you go with Son because he's like 90 minutes plus penalties, but he is managing his injury. So we don't even know if he's going to play 90, but he'll at least play like 70, you'd assume. But the fact he missed his games for South Korea means that he probably had like a more serious injury. And with Foden, it's like, you know what he's going to give you. Like, this is the perfect run for Foden, too. Probably one of the biggest 50-50 decisions for your season when you look back is like Sun versus Foden for this run is it's really hard to pick the difference. And you'll feel a little bit weird because you're a Liverpool fan and you're going for triple Man City in a way, but Foden's the best differential in the game. Like Foden and Son are the best ones to pick. I think you don't really have a choice but to go for Solanke. I think he's like the best striker. It's really non-negotiable in this position.
But
Like I think it's
is he
Solanke picks
getting
himself.
good no, good positions? Like against Brighton, he barely did anything in the box.
Yeah, so perfect. I have the perfect answer to this is that they played Timo Werner in the spot that Son would play.
Okay.
And if you're taking Timo Werner in that spot and you have Brennan Johnson on the other wing, they're not providing enough service to Solanke. But when Son and Madison and Kulusevski are creating for the team, that's what happens when you play against Man United and Brentford. And look at that XG, like that's insane. This
Yes.
guy's only 7.5, bro. Like if Son is starting, you should bring Solanke in. And 100%. Like, I think either way, you just bring Solanke. The fixture is too good.
Yeah, I think
3
that
home
I'm
games in the
picking
next
him.
4. Yeah,
Nonetheless,
like, no
I'm
doubt
picking
you put
him.
Solanke
Yeah,
there. Yeah. And
but
then I think you just have to go for Son or Foden. And that's a big 50-50. It's hard for me to tell you what to do, but in your position, if I found out Son was starting, I would go Son as well.
are you going from 8 or from 9?
Now we also have to wait for the news on Saka. Do you remember last year we were in this exact same position where it was bright? It was Arsenal were playing Bournemouth away, and
Yeah.
Saka was also an injury dealt, but he ended up starting. Arsenal got 3 penalties, but luckily Saka gave 2 of them away. One to like Havertz, one to Fabio Vieira, one to Odegaard, something like that. And so he only took 1 penalty. He only scored 1 goal, but he could have had a hat trick. Like if he was more selfish, like if that was Palmer, Palmer would have had a hat trick that day, right? So it just shows you that like this Bournemouth fixture is good. Because remember when Liverpool played Bournemouth, like Bournemouth press high. And so
Yeah,
if
yeah,
Arsenal
yeah.
can beat the press, they'll be spacing behind.
They
So like
will
that's the
beat
thing.
the
So I think
press.
this is a good fixture for Saka too, man. Like it's not a bad exit point. And if Saka is out, that means that Havertz would also be on penalties.
Most probably I'm keeping
So it's
Havertz though against Bournemouth as well. I'm not willing to sell him that week, as you mentioned.
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I mean, it's up to you. Like I still think that either way, those are the guys you should be targeting. It's just like when you want to do it. Personally, I would sell one of them. Like I would hedge my bets and bring one of the Spurs guys in.
Hmm. I don't know, man. I'm a little bit lost with those Arsenal. Both are flagged. Both are with some injury doubts. I'm just lost. I thought exactly the same. For me, it was Swanky in here, 1000%. Like even though he didn't do well against Brighton in front of goal, I remember against United and Brentford how well he did. So I'm not that short memory font, and I will keep him. The bad thing for me is that in those 3 goals and those 3 in Brentford and United, he didn't get any bonus compared to Chris Wood, compared to any other striker like Cunha, who lost 5-3 to Brentford and got the 3 bonus points. For me, it's pretty hard to justify the millions. You know, most of the strikers, if they're not called Suwanke and who else was it? And there was one more guy that was scoring goals and not picking points, bonus points at all. Everyone else, if they scored as a forward, they're getting at least 1 or 2 bonus. He hasn't got
Yeah.
any bonus yet, which is a little bit worrying for me if you ask me. Like
Yeah, that's fair.
I
It's a
don't
fair
know.
point. Like, there's nothing to say to that apart from the fact that he's picking up good underlying data. If he finishes his chances and he's more clinical, that means he'll get more goals and probably more bonus. So, I
Yeah,
mean, the upside's there. It's self-explanatory.
yeah, the upside is there, but the like Chris Wood, if he scores, I know that he's taking the 3 bonus. It doesn't matter how the game finishes. Okay, last time Palmer took it because Palmer had 11 shots or something like that, but it's just Palmer. But like Wood, Cunha, any other striker, it's doing very, very well. Raul Jimenez scored 2 goals and got the 2 times the 3 bonus points. Like everyone is getting the bonus points. I know I'm going for Suwanke. Like the other option is Jackson, who I'm not going to go for, or Watkins, who I'm not going to go for. So it's going to be Suwanke here. The other option is Chris Wood, but yeah, I'm not going to pick Chris Wood over Suwanke. And now the question is, I have the budget for Palmer, I have the budget for Foden, and I have the
Mm.
budget for Son. And that's the deal here. Should I just pick up Palmer while he's under 11 million and just stick with him and go with him?
Mm.
Should I chase the upside of Son? Should I chase the upside of Palmer of Foden? But as mentioned, if City blank like last week's where Haaland and Foden didn't return, my 2 most expensive players are gone from the game. Like I'm not
Mm.
splitting anything. I'm relying on Swanke and Tembumo to do the bits, which is I don't know. I don't know what to think of that,
I
honestly.
mean, honestly, bro, I would say that you don't have to think of it like that. Man City are the most likely team to score the most goals. Like you would want as much Man City as you can get, bro. Like I'm so jealous of Holland owners. You can just captain him, and you could also bring Foden in. Like, bro, there's going to be very few managers that go for Holland plus Foden. But last year, in this exact position, when Foden was cheaper priced, we owned them all. Like, we owned Foden and Holland. You see what I mean? Like, this year, it's like people are more scared because, oh, Foden's just coming back from his illness. But, bro, he started in the Champions League, he got a goal and assist. He started in the league. Like, he's playing well. Like, Foden's a great pick. Like, it's really up to you. The thing is,
Yeah,
Son has the higher floor, right? Because he has the penalties. That's
yeah,
the difference.
yeah. That's a lot of dilemmas there, man. Like I'm just I'm just in a predicament, honestly. Like I don't know what to do
Yeah,
in
I
that
mean,
type of
it's like Foden
situation.
versus Son, like
Yeah,
Son versus Foden. You gotta like flip a coin.
yeah. And realistically, I'm not captaining any of them against Haaland in the next three at least. So
Yeah.
it's not I'm picking my captain. It's like I'm picking the right hand of the captain who is going to just bring the extra bit of points there, and who is going to be my
Yeah.
vice. Like in general, as this guy is
Would
going
you
to be my vice.
consider would you consider potentially captaining a Son against Ipswich in game week 11?
Yeah,
Or that's not on
probably,
the table for you?
probably I can. But am I going for double Spurs attack? That's the deal. Like they're doing very well. They're scoring goals for fun. But yeah, the fixtures are there, like Palace, Villa, Ipswich, two home fixtures. I'm not selecting
Mm,
them for West Ham. I'm keeping my three Arsenal players for
mm,
that Bournemouth game
Bournemouth.
and whatever happens there. But am I going for more? Because if I went for Palmer here in game week 9, the
Mm,
Liverpool fixture is gone. Newcastle at home. Newcastle are not defending that well currently. United away, it's not that hard for Palmer to break that United defense, in my opinion, as Palmer did last year. He scored 3 goals or something like that, or two and an assist
yeah, he did. He got a
against
hat trick.
United.
Yeah.
And Arsenal, okay, Arsenal fair play, but he can do damage, and Maresca can do
No,
damage
no, don't
against
look at
Arteta.
12. No, you can't look at 12 because you're wild carding at 12 anyway. So it doesn't matter.
No. I'm looking at 11. That's the only three
Yeah, so
fixtures I'm
11.
looking.
11 is the thing.
Yeah,
If you look at 9, 10, and 11, it depends how you want to spin the narrative. Like Newcastle, I can say it like this. They've improved because they have Tonali, they have Joel Linton in their midfield. They look much better defensively this year than they did last year. And you can see that in their performances and results recently. They kept a clean sheet last week as well. Man United, they're not looking to score goals. Bro, Ten Hag is trying to save his job. Like he's playing very defensive. He's playing like Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire. Like, bro, it's gonna be a very defensive game. But Chelsea will probably find a way to score, but they're not gonna smash Man U like I don't know, bro. I feel like these are the types of moments in the past 3 or 4 seasons where Ten Hag has been in this position and he finds a way to save his job. And I think by getting a 0-0 result against Chelsea, he'll keep his job. And so, I don't know, man. I wouldn't go for Palmer. Like, I think if you go for Palmer in this position, you should look to wildcard in game week 18. Like, wildcard as late as possible. If you go for Palmer here, um, that's why I would suggest, bro, like, just let him go. Like, he's the better player. Of all these options, he's the best one. And for each week that you avoid him, he goes up in price. And so you're going to have to
yeah,
buy him later at maybe 10.9 and 11. But I still think you should value points more than team value because I'm
yeah,
pretty confident Son and Foden will outscore him in these next four or
yeah.
three, depending. The thing is that's tricky is that you like Saka for the Bournemouth fixture. And so
Yes,
that's when it
exactly.
opens up the route to Palmer.
Yeah.
That's I get that. It's very tempting.
Yeah, the
Ah,
hardest fixture in those are Liverpool and Arsenal, specifically Liverpool away from home. Arsenal at
yeah.
home, I can see a London derby getting out of hand and some shenanigans happening on both sides of the field, a fight maybe breaking, something like that. The other two are not worrying for me. Like, if those two were around, let's say, West Ham and Crystal Palace, I wouldn't count them as bad fixtures. I'm counting them as
Mm,
bad fixtures because they are around Arsenal at Liverpool.
Arsenal, Liverpool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if I drop the Liverpool game, immediately is Newcastle and United for the first two, then a slight Arsenal, a hard Arsenal. Okay, I'm willing to take the risk. Two of them are at home. The away fixture is at Old Trafford,
Mm.
and Old Trafford currently it's either going to be a 0-0 or a 5-0 to the team facing United. Like it's nothing in between. Like there isn't a hard fixture. And if you imagine Spurs destroying United, I believe Chelsea can do the same. I'm really surprised how Maresca is setting up Chelsea. I expected way less of him, to say the least. I'm pretty surprised in a good way.
Impressed.
And I think that against United, he can show something that he learned from Guardiola and that Ten Hag is not ready for. Just that's my thought process here. As you said, I'm not looking from... My point is the 3 fixtures. And when I compare them to Son and compare them to Foden, they're way worse. But the thing is, 90 minutes and on penalties and no European football. That's the benefit of Palmer. Son, it's on penalties, but as you mentioned, with the injury and getting back, maybe not 90 minutes. Foden is not 90 minutes and not on penalties. And he has UCL games, and yeah, the UCL games are not that hard in around those fixtures, but still it's a game in midweek while Palmer is fully rested and he just comes back and scores goals. Like that's the question. Like
That's the
everyone
thing. I can see how you're looking at it. Like if you wait a week and it opens up the Palmer door, and then I get it. Because then you can kind of cover Son when you go for like Solanke.
Exactly. My thought process, exactly.
I see that. That's interesting. And
Yeah.
plus you save the team value with Palmer. Like he's your biggest threat. Like you're covering up the guy that can hurt you the most.
Apart from Liverpool, by the way. Liverpool are still my highest threats. Luis Diaz and Salah, whenever they play, I'm losing ranks. No matter what they do. Even if they get a red card, most probably I will lose a rank. That's how they highly owned are around me. But yeah, those 50% here are worrying for me. And the thing is, around game week 12, those percents are going to become like 60 minimum.
70%.
Minimum,
Yeah, 100%. I'm captaining these types of players. I'm going to captain Palmer like from game week 12 to like 20. I think I captained him like 6 or 7 times.
Exactly. And if I captain him, why should I keep Haaland? Like, Haaland is there for the captaincy. So from 12, I can move, or even from 9. Then from 10, I can take a hit and probably bring in Salah or something like that. Or just don't sell Havertz at all at 9 and just keep the transfer and sell only Saka to Palmer. Keep Havertz for the Liverpool fixture and then go from Haaland and Eze to Salah and Solanke or something like that. And I'm still in the money. So I have options. But the thing is, I would like Palmer. And if I get Palmer, and if I sell Haaland, by the way, around 12, around 10 or 11, should I wildcard it all, man? Like, the defense is set. I will have the midfielder set. I will bring the Arsenal guy from attack back. I will have the money when I don't own Haaland. Like, what's there to gain from that wildcard? Basically nothing.
I would suggest, honestly, like, I think you just hold Haaland for the next 4 weeks. Don't overthink it.
Yeah,
Use your
probably.
wild card to spread the Haaland money.
Yes.
That's just the best move for you.
Yeah.
Like you have the wild card, like use it to your advantage. Maximize the next 4 weeks and then wild card and figure it out.
Yeah. The issue is I will not own Salah or Diaz in the next at least 10 weeks because I don't see them owning them, but I cannot them own all. Like, I will be happy if Liverpool win and I don't own him. If my players do well, I will be double happy. So yeah, it will be happy season for me. So that's the bright side I'm looking at. But yeah, I'm really tempted for Palmer, man. Like, no midweek fixtures for injuries, no nothing. Like, full rest, go on, score goals. Full rest, go on, score goals. Like, if the question is, should I get Mbumo? The answer was going to always be yes. And I'm like, I should do that the same for Palmer. It's just a better player with the same appeal. Like,
yeah, I get that. I can't even say anything. I would just say, like, if you're looking to maximize points, like 9 to 11, he's not going to be the guy.
yes.
Like, I'm sure like one of Son or Foden will outscore him. But there's also risk to it, right? Because Palmer will have higher ownership than those guys too.
Exactly.
And if Palmer is the one that does it, then it hurts you more.
Yeah.
And you also lose the team value too. So I get it. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
It depends how risky you want to play, right?
Yeah. And I'm not willing to take why should I take the risk? What high appeal from rank 110k should I gain from taking those risks? Like, why the hell? Like, my goal until game week 10 was to be in the top 1 million. If I'm getting Palmer at 9, like for 9, what am I afraid of? Liverpool scoring, and basically that's it. Like even if Foden and Son, both of them score more points than Palmer, they're going to hurt me less. Generally.
Yeah, their ownership is like non-existent. We like less than 10-15%.
Yeah,
Because everyone is going to be clamoring for Palmer. Like everyone in your position must be thinking, man, I really need to get Palmer in my team,
yeah,
right?
exactly. And they got him. They got him in their team. The issue is that how am I surviving game week 8, even though it's against Liverpool? How the hell am I surviving? That's the only thing that's keeping me insane position is Liverpool. The three guys that can hurt me the most play against each other: Diaz, Salah, and Palmer. So I'm willing to put them aside and let them fight on their own and just pick that Chelsea asset.
Imagine that game is like 3-2. It's going to hurt you badly.
If that game is scoring from both teams, like I'm done. Like I'm losing the Trent clean sheet, and both of them are scoring. So I will need Haaland to score like 10 goals in order to compensate. And Saka and Havertz to just destroy Bournemouth, and they be happy Arsenal 7-0 victory, something like that. Like that will be the only upside. Like everyone owes him Bumu. Eze, I don't see him scoring to save his life. Honestly, currently, like this man, if it depends on him to score the goal, he will ask probably Mateta to take the shot instead of him. Like, what the hell, man? He missed some sitters, and the only goal that he scored was that wonder goal against Chelsea. That's keeping Liverpool a top 1 spot, because Chelsea should have won that game against Palace. And yeah. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's very fair. Yeah, I don't know, man. I get the pressure for Palmer. I get it, man. I think whatever decision you make, like I understand it. I think in your position, it's hard to not think about effective ownership because like
Yeah.
you're doing so well.
Yeah.
And like the points against you, like it matters, but I still think you should pick the player that scores the most points. And if you think it's Palmer, then do it.
Yeah,
Simple.
I think it's going to be Palmer. I have some slight feeling like if you ask me if I take Mbumo with worse fixtures or Bowen with good ones, I would still have taken Mbumo with bad fixtures. Like,
Yeah.
it's the same to pick Bowen I imagine as Foden, and Mbumo I imagine as Palmer. Those two are the guys that I'm comparing. And as I'm comparing to Son, like the appeal is the same for less money. So if I take Mbumo every day of the week, I think I should take Palmer every day of the week in those scenarios. Like if I can manage to fit in Foden as well, more the better. Like if I do that, it's brilliant. But now I think I should focus on setting the team. And even if I wildcard in 12 or later on, I would have gone on Palmer, and that would have been the case. And I would be happy with my decision. So yeah.
Yeah. You want to live with the decision you won't regret.
Yeah,
Because like
exactly.
if you, for example, if you go for Son, would you regret going for Palmer? Yeah.
No, man. But the thing is that I would have to rely heavily on Son scoring double digits, like in order my week to be good, and Palmer not scoring anything. Not only not double digits, anything. Like even a clean sheet from Palmer, it's hurting me like hell. Like those. When I watched the game, that was that was the second last game, and I was watching my life rank with every point with Palmer. It's like 40,000 places with every point, up and down. And I'm at top 100k, man. I'm not even in the millions. Like 40,000 places for every position. When he got the yellow card, I got bumped to like 50k in the world. And then
Wow, that's
he
crazy.
received the bonus point. I got dropped down to 90k. And then Son and Swank and Johnson put me aside, but basically it was 40k places for a point. That's absurd
Wow, that's
amount of
crazy.
deviation for one guy.
Wow.
So yeah.
No, envy, bro. Envy, bro. Listen. People in your position, they're all going for Palmer.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Like I'm telling you, don't do it. I'm telling you, you gotta trust me. Don't do it. Like the temptation is there. I can understand it. But if you pick the right one of Son or Foden, you're gonna fly to like the top 10K because everyone's going Palmer.
Yeah, but
That's the risk. Like
if I
reward,
pick the wrong
Like,
one, I'm in the 2 million.
bro, if you pick the right one, you're gonna put yourself in a position to win FPL. Like that's how crazy it is, bro. Like that, bro. It's 4 weeks. You're only gonna do it for 4 weeks. You're not gonna be going against him for like a month or like for like multiple weeks. It's just 4 weeks, And this week is against Liverpool anyway, so it's really just 3 weeks
It's
against him,
only
and
3
one of them
weeks,
against
yeah.
Arsenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one against Arsenal anyway. So forget it. So it's really just 2 weeks that you're really scared. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
Maxi's going to get against Arsenal's one return. It's fine. You can get that
maybe
from
after
either
game week
Foden or
8,
Son.
I
So
will message you and we can discuss. Because in game week
yeah, because
game week 8,
bro,
I'm not touching him. I'm
it's
keeping
it's
Saka.
it's it's fear, bro. The fear of Palmer is huge for you, bro.
Yeah,
Like
it's
especially
fear.
at your rank,
Yeah, it's
bro.
fear.
That's big. Like 100% effective ownership, basically at your rank,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, 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 exactly. And it will keep growing. Like,
Love that, bro.
yeah,
It's gonna keep growing. Yeah, you're right, bro. It's gonna because it must be at like 70 something gonna grow. You're right. So
yeah. Game week
depends,
8,
bro. You want to be that big risky guy or you want to play safe because you're already in a good rank. That's the thing. But you always remember you always want to get the guy that gets the most points, regardless. You captain the guy that gets the most points. You transfer the guy in that gets the most points. You decide like when we get there. We'll talk about it over DMs and then
yeah, last week I didn't follow that. I got the guy that will get me the most flexibility going forward in Rico Willis. In hindsight, that was a bad move. I should have considered Bowen or Madison more and kept Pau
Mhm.
Torres. It was just like a 4.5 defender for a 4.5 defender. But honestly, I consider Rico Willis like a proper midfielder. I don't consider him like a defender.
Yeah,
It's
he
like
is. Yeah,
Lundstram from several seasons ago, where he just
yeah.
plays like a pocket midfielder and he's there and he's getting assists and attacking returns left, right, and center. And the clean sheets are bonus. That's the thing with him. Like clean sheets are a bonus, but still, yeah, I'll have to deliberate. Hopefully, Saka is fit. And if I have to make a decision this week, who am I bringing in? Is most probably going to be Foden. Like if I have to, because
Mm,
Son is coming back from an injury. I don't know what's the extent, how many minutes. If Palmer is playing Liverpool and Arsenal in the next four, I'm not getting. And if Saka is out, it's just going to be Foden. But if we
yeah,
survive with Saka from game week 8, then the biggest question is for the next two, from the next three games, two of them are good for Palmer. So yeah, it's a
yeah.
big 50-50. And there are two away fixtures from City, while one is at home, but it's against Southampton. Spurs have Ipswich and Villa at home. So a lot of questions will pop up, but I think this week I'm content with my team
Yeah.
and keeping them. What do you think about yours? Do you have anything to deliberate to?
Yeah, go back to my screen.
Yes.
Yeah, so just for my team in particular, like I'm pretty set to be honest long term. Like I'm gonna be captaining probably Saka away at Bournemouth this week, and then Foden next week against Southampton, and then hopefully Son in game week 11. Sorry, game week 10 and 11 for Son, hopefully. So I'm pretty set with captaincy. And then once I get to 12, I'm just Palmer captain every week. The only problem, bro, is like, should I take a -4 to switch Saliba and Flecken to bring in Raya, or should I just continue with my structure, even though I know it's not the best one long term?
I would still keep it, man. I don't see it an upside. Maybe if you switch them for some bit of money, but why do you need the money? Like, are you going to do anything with that 0.4, 0.5 that you're going to save? Is there anything
Yeah,
coming
well,
there?
that the money that I would get from that, because it's like I don't see any points difference between
Yes.
like Saliba, Flecken, and then Raya and Eight Nuri, and then I rotate Eight Nuri with Rico. Like I don't really see much points difference there, really. It's just going to be that extra point 5 that I could use to upgrade Solanke later. Otherwise, there's no need. You know,
So I think that don't, man. I don't see a
don't
point
do it.
because you most probably find some issues in your team going down the road and you get the money from there either way. Like if you have an issue with Foden or Saka or Son, you have to downgrade. You cannot reach easily Salah, so it's going to be a downgrade.
Yeah,
And the next downgrade is
yeah,
1 million less, so the money is already there. I don't find anything appealing about switching keepers for a hit. Like that's my number one rule probably. Don't transfer out the keeper, especially for a hit. Like
okay,
yeah,
all right.
as you said, you are aiming for points, man. And if you think that
Mm,
Isaac is going to outscore Solanke that much, you find the resources maybe to sell Saliba at some point and bring in someone. Maybe you
mm,
decide to have a second Arsenal attacker. I don't know what the tide
Havertz
is
could be the
going.
guy too. Yeah,
Yeah, how the tides are going to turn, what is going to happen. There are a lot of ifs and buts going into the next couple of fixtures with Arsenal having not a very good run in the Champions League after match day 3. And yeah, Spurs are in Europe as well. You don't know what else going to happen with injuries because a lot of fixtures have been played and a lot of massive injuries are already happening around Europe. Like big players are getting injuries, and I think that is going to continue now, especially with those international breaks that are between 4 weeks. They're changing the training cycle, everything. It was pretty smart from Arsenal to declare Havertz injured, in my opinion, and not let him go
Mhm.
there. Like for me, that's a injury by the coach. It's not a real injury, in my opinion.
Mm.
Like the coach
Yeah.
said, man, those games you don't care about, they will manage without you. Get a rest. I feel like that's just the case, and
Yeah.
a lot of things can happen. Imagine Mbumo is flying to Africa. Not Kune, I don't think is international. Johnson, by the way, picked up an injury yesterday. I don't know
Yeah.
if you've seen that.
Yeah.
Gabriel is traveling to Brazil every time. We don't know what happened with him. Joao Pedro went for Brazil, played 45 minutes, and now has been injured for 4 weeks, and we haven't seen him. So a lot of things can happen. So taking so early a hit from Saliba and then Gabriel getting injured is going to be the worst outcome for you. Like literally,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah. And then just being with Raya without Gabriel in the lineup and only with Saliba is going to be awful for Arsenal and then awful for you as you only have one.
Yeah.
Yeah, in my opinion, after you got the wild card, you don't touch the defense. You pick that defense, you stay with it. You just aim for those. You select. The way I do wild cards is I set my defense completely and I forget about it. I don't care about fixtures. I only care about if my most expensive players get injuries. That's the thing I care about.
Yeah.
I select 5 of the 8 attackers. They're a complete lock. I don't touch them. I don't do anything with them, and I just rotate 3 of the other players around fixtures and around stuff to get the upside. Because in general, good
Mm.
players score good points in a longer term of period. Like Mboum is going to deliver eventually, even if he starts blanking for 1 or 2 weeks. Palmer,
Exactly.
Foden, Saka, Suwanke, they're all going to get the minutes and numbers for you. While Cunha, Calvert-Lewin and Johnson can be rotated for those upsides whenever their teams are good. So you'll be more than happy to do that. Like, don't touch the defense, man. You have way more important things and you have Rico Willis as a cover. Like, if anything happens,
Yeah.
you have a cover. So,
Yeah. So let me ask you this question then. Going into this week,
yes.
who should I start? Saliba playing away at Bournemouth or Trent playing at home to Chelsea?
Oh, Trent, of course.
Yeah, see, that
If,
feels wrong to bench Arsenal
yeah,
defender. That's the problem. See,
you can compare Trent with any player in the game, and the answer is going to be Trent for me.
I know, bro. I agree. I'm with you, bro. That's my guy, man.
Yeah, he's just that player that when he decides, it's a double digits number. When he doesn't decide, it's a 9 pointer or an 8 pointer because he did well in the game even without him scoring or doing anything. Like
He doesn't need
remember,
to do anything. He
yeah,
needs to literally do nothing. As long as he gets the clean sheet, early sub, and he's good, bro.
yeah. Remember against United, he scored that goal and he was ruled out for a bit. This thing can happen on the counter against the other sides. Like they're playing against a pretty low block week in and week out. Now without Alisson is a little bit tricky though, as it's a big downgrade from Alisson to anywhere else. But Trent can get the attacking return. For the next 4 hours, not
Mm.
expecting clean sheets nonetheless. So the attacking returns, maybe SWAT decides to play more of an offensive football, knowing that defensively they cannot manage without Alisson, probably. He will need to
We'll see.
outscore. He will need to outscore the teams, in my opinion. And for me, that's going to be the thing there.
Yeah. So before we go, let me just ask you one quick question. Like we can sort of leave FPL aside. How do you feel like as a Liverpool fan watching the first couple of games? I think there's been 7 games. We have what, 5 clean sheets, I think, something like that. And we're playing great football, right? So how do you feel as a fan? What are your expectations for this year? Have
Uh,
they changed after you've watched the first couple games?
Honestly, I think I feel pretty lucky for those 5 clean sheets. They were a little bit ropey. Like most of the teams had big chances, and in any other day, it was going to be conceding goals. But you can say that for any great defense. Like that's why they are great because in those scenarios they find a way, being aura, being a remarkable save, being 1 millimeter offside. Those things happen, and that's what defines a great team. The thing for me is that I think we take too much time to get into games. Like
Mm.
in the first halves, apart from Manchester United game, we were pretty equal to the teams that we were playing against. Even in Champions League, we played two fixtures, we were pretty even. Against West Ham in the Cup, we were pretty even. Against the six sides that we faced, we were pretty even. At sometimes we were even worse than them. And then something happens in the second half. I think it's a good management from the coach and finding the issues in the first half and changing a little bit of things. And then in the second half, we have been steamrolling teams. That's the thing for me. If
Mm.
Liverpool survive the first half and they are fine, I think we're winning the game. And
Yeah.
apart from Forest,
Then
but against Forest, we were the better side. What do you think about the
yeah.
first couple of weeks for Liverpool?
Yeah,
What's
bro,
your
I think it
opinion?
was pretty chill. Like, I mean, my expectations were to pretty much win every game, and we've done that. And
Yeah.
you've met my expectations. Like, I'm not going to be too high or too low. Like, I guess for me, I don't really think we're in the title race this year.
Yes, of
I'm going
course.
to wait until game week like 19, and then I'll start talking about Liverpool in the title race because our fixtures have been so easy, bro. Like,
Yeah.
it's unfair to include us. Like, I feel like Arsenal and City are going to be the ones, and based on that, do you think like the impact of the Rodri injury is going to make Arsenal potentially having a chance to win the Premier League?
Yes, if they keep their players fit as well. That's the big if because Odegaard is out and you can see he's out. Like against those
Mm.
bad sides that they played at Emirates, they took a lot of time to score. If Odegaard was there, in my opinion, they were scoring way, way earlier. If Saka, Saliba, or Rice get an injury as well, for me, it's still City to win the league. But if
Mm.
they can keep the team fit in general, like maybe rest a guy here and there, they'll be fine and they'll be a pretty big title contenders. I think Liverpool can get into the picture if they keep chucking those points. Like 3 points here, 3 points there, 3 points here, 3 points there. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how well we play if you got the points. Like if you win every game, it doesn't matter if you played like United or you played like City. The 3 points are the same
Mm.
for each team. And I'm not going to say Liverpool in the title race because there are several injuries away as well from full disaster.
Mm.
So yeah, I wanted to ask you, how do you feel about the fixtures when Liverpool are going to be more pressured about their wingers? Like I thought about that a lot, and I feel like Diaz and Salah against Arsenal, against Chelsea, even against Spurs, they can do some serious damage against Villa because those teams are attacking progressively and they leave the space
Mm.
behind. Forget about Forest, forget about Bournemouth, forget about Ipswich, who were just defending for their lives. Let's be real. They were defending,
Mm.
defending, and defending. I think those other teams are going to want to attack, and I feel like here the speed of Liverpool can be detrimental, and maybe it's going to be better to own Liverpool attackers in their harder fixtures compared to their easier ones. What do you feel about
Yeah, it's a
that?
good point. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of space in behind. Liverpool attack is fixture proof, bro. It's similar to like Arsenal defense. Like Arsenal defense is fixture proof. In big games, they play even more defensive. For Liverpool, it's like even in the big games when the teams come out to play, it allows Diaz and Salah to run into the space. So I get that point, and it makes sense. I think Salah will do big damage. Like I am scared to go without him. Like I'm sure
Yeah,
he must feel the same way, bro. Like the
yep.
Brighton fixture in particular, bro in game week 10. I saw the way Chelsea played against them. I saw the way Spurs played against them. Like, bro, I think Salah is going to be in for at least double digits in that game. So I'm scared about that one in particular. But Aston Villa is usually always back and forth. Southampton is going to be the 4 or 5 nothing easily. So there's a lot of damage Liverpool can do in those games, bro. So
Yeah,
I'm
but
scared to go without them
in
personally.
Champions League it's bad as well. It's not good run of fixtures as a whole. That's the thing. If Liverpool had easier fixtures around those cards in the Prem, like if they got some easy run of like Barcelona got some two easy teams in the Champions League playing, if it was for Liverpool, in my opinion, I would have went with Salah or Diaz. Maybe apart from Eze, I should have went with Diaz and I'm just done. I have the money, I have the utilities to do so, so I would have been more than happy to do so. But those fixtures against Leverkusen, against Real Madrid, those things for me are going to be the thing that maybe ticks off a little bit off from Liverpool. I don't know how to take a look. And Brighton in the cup as well. It's not like we got
Yeah,
lucky with a second tier or third tier side. So
I know.
if Liverpool were a little bit lucky in the other three fixtures during midweek, I believe that Salah was going to be a pretty important player to get into my team. But
Yeah.
now with
And,
that,
you know,
yeah,
and now he also got the 70th minute sub. Like
yeah,
maybe he could have his minutes managed in the Premier League because the Champions League games are so difficult, right?
exactly,
So I
exactly.
don't know, bro. Like it's tough, man. Like I'm definitely avoiding Mo, but it's gonna be at the same time, it's hard because like his ownership will be high in every week because it's Salah in terms of an FPL perspective. But as Liverpool fans, we can go and enjoy the game. If he gets the
Yeah,
points, so be it, bro.
yeah, exactly, exactly like that. I think Liverpool are going to do well in those run-up fixtures.
Same.
Everyone is thinking that we're going to struggle, but I feel like they're going to at least get into a good position to leave group in the UCL, continue in the Carabao, and be in the UCL race for the league. Like
100%.
that's in my
So
opinion.
100%. If we beat Chelsea at home,
Yeah,
we're sending a statement to the Premier League. You
yeah,
gotta understand that.
yeah,
That game, if we win it, regardless of how we win it, if we win, bro, that game is gonna send shockwaves. Because if we do that, we're taking third place 100%. That's our minimum for
yeah,
this year. That's
yeah,
what it if we beat them. And then if we go into the Arsenal game and we can even get a draw or something away from home, bro, we could have a really good shot this year. So
yeah.
let's see how it goes. I'm really excited, man. You must be too.
Yeah, yeah. What do you think about the contract situation? I wanted to ask you for several weeks
Yeah,
from
yeah,
Trent,
bro.
Salah, and Van Dijk.
Yeah, like Trent's my favorite player, bro. Like if he leaves, bro, I might just like my love for like Liverpool will it's not gonna disappear, but like I wake up early in the mornings to watch him. Like I don't have that same love for like Diaz and Van Dijk and like all those other players. Like I've loved Mane and Firmino. Like those guys have been my guys. And Salah's always my guy too, but Trent's that's like one of the guys, that you fall in love with your team. Like
Yeah,
that's my guy, bro. So
yeah,
like if he left, that would be a travesty because he's probably in his prime. Like he's 25 or 26 years old. He has at least 5 or 6 years in the prime of his career. If he leaves on a free, that's terrible management from us. Like we
yeah,
should be getting like 100 million, 150 million for him. If Salah leaves, he's like one of the only players that if he left, it makes sense. Like he spent his entire prime year, like he's gonna probably go to somewhere like Saudi Arabia or something, get some money and go spend time with his family over there, and just it makes sense for Salah to leave. If Van Dijk leaves, then I think defensively we're gonna need to go and spend some money. But if Trent leaves, bro, I don't even know if we'll make top four next year. Like
You
regardless of what happens to Salah and Van Dijk. Like I know we have that good replacement in Connor Bradley, and he's a good player, but bro, Trent is generational,
yeah.
man.
Do you think that they're without new contracts because Edwards returned to the team and to the club?
Mm.
Because in my point of view, when Edwards was before with Klopp, Liverpool got that famous wager structure where no one was getting a lot of money, like absolutely no one. If your name was Van Dijk, Mane, Salah, Firmino, whatever, you were there for a cup and that's it. And let's say that the cup was 200k. Now Salah is way over that, and he signed that, I believe, even maybe in the last year of Edwards, and I think that's why Edwards left last time around, or even without Edwards. Now Trent is on high wager, yeah, Van Dijk is on high wager as well. In my point of view, Trent is not going to sign for less money. Why the hell he should sign for less money?
Yeah.
He is in the prime. He is one of the local boys, and he should be treated like one of the
Like a
best
king.
Liverpool players, and he should
Yeah.
want that wager. Then, if you think Van Dijk is the captain of the club, why is he going to downgrade his wager? No, no, no sense to do that. The same for Salah. He is the best right winger in the Prem, in the whole history of the Prem. Why he should take a salary cut at the end of the day? Like they're
Yeah.
they're workers apart from footballers, and they would have to think like I'm the best of the best in my position in the world, why should I downgrade my wager in order to fit in some criteria that we were doing well without that? If you compare, I think Gravenberg, Gias, Sobuswai, they're under 100k. Like you got them,
Wow.
and you got the rest of the people, and like I think Edwards is trying to lower their salary, and I don't think that's going to work. Like if you know
Yeah,
you're
it's not.
that important to the team, and compared in the world, man, those are three of the four world class players in Liverpool. The last guy is Alisson. Like those four players are completely world class, and they can fit in every system, in every team, and they will be happy to have them. So if I'm that important and I know my place in the world, why am I taking a cut in the salary? That makes zero
Yeah, I
sense.
agree.
Yeah,
I'm with you. Like the key is gonna be like just one thing about Trent is like if because okay, one thing about Trent is we heard that Coverall picked up like an MCL or ACL injury, he's out for the season. So hopefully Pedro Porro leaves Spurs because he's Spanish and goes to Real Madrid. Then I think I'll be happy because then I think the rumors about Trent won't be as high,
yeah,
right? So that's where I think we'll be sitting pretty. I think Trent is the most likely one to stay.
yeah,
But I think they'll pay Trent because he's like a local. He's a
yes,
local guy. He will
yeah,
eventually become our captain. I'm pretty sure. And I know there's the rumors with him and Jude, but I'm hoping that he wants to stay at his club. If we pay him what he deserves, he'll stay. I think.
yeah,
And then it's just about Van Dijk and Salah, and I just don't know, bro. Like they should be paying them whatever they want, but I don't know if the organization will do that. So
yeah,
we'll have to
yeah.
wait. They're priceless. Like those players, they can't be replaced anywhere. Like you know.
Exactly my thoughts. And I think if Van Dijk leaves, Trent is captain next season. That's my thought.
Yeah.
That's my
Yeah,
thought
if Salah
process
leaves
there.
as well, then yeah, we'll
Even
see.
I don't think
Yeah.
Salah is in front of Trent in the pecking order for captains.
Wow.
Currently Trent is vice captain. So why the hell should he be downgraded to vice again and Salah to a captain if Van Dijk leaves?
Yeah.
For me, Liverpool will not keep both Trent and Virgil. For me, it's one of the two. I don't know. I prefer Trent to be kept there. Like if you lose Trent, you lose the local hero basically. Like you lose Gerrard
Yeah, no.
when it was the time. It's like the same decision when Gerrard got the offer from Chelsea around 2005. It feels like the same thing with Trent currently. Like if Trent leaves for a bigger side, he will not reach the Gerrard heights, whatever he does at Real Madrid or whichever team, in my opinion. But yeah, let's see what happens. Hopefully next year we'll have the three of them in the team happily, and we'll be doing well. But at least let Trent and for me Salah stay. I would be devastated to lose Van Dijk, but
Yeah, same.
uh, you can find a promising center back that is going to do a semi good job compared to that. But I don't think you'll find anywhere doing the things that Trent do at right back or the things that Salah
Yeah,
do at
no.
right wing. Maybe Cole Palmer can be the replacement of Salah, but I don't think Cole Palmer is leaving Chelsea
Nah.
at any point.
Honestly, like if Salah leaves, I'm hoping we sign like Jared Bowen or Brian Mbumo. I
Yeah,
love those two guys, bro.
yeah,
Like I don't really like any other wingers in the Prem, like those right wingers. Those are the
yeah,
best. But yeah, regardless, like these guys are irreplaceable. Like Salah,
yes,
like you said, best in the Prem. Van Dijk has been the best center back in the Prem. We're not going to see another center back nominated for Ballon d'Or in the top three for the
yeah,
next decade. So
probably, yeah,
yeah, regardless of what happens, like we're going down
yeah,
either way.
yeah. Okay, Kanji,
But
thank
yo,
you for,
on a more positive note,
yeah,
yeah, on a more positive note, bro, it's so nice to just chat some FPL and
yeah.
football with you, man.
Yeah, yeah. It will be good to catch up. Maybe I can join the how you call them, the
The Twitter
huddle? No,
Spaces.
the Twitter Spaces. Yes, the huddles. To have some chat there. Yeah, hopefully I will be able with that placement change that I mentioned to you, and
Hmm.
a lot of work has been happening in my hours for rest. We had to do a lot of stuff,
Hmm.
but now I think I'm more settled, so I will be more than happy to join you there and have some discussion. I'm most probably not wildcarding up until 12, so next time when we have a chat for the draft battle, we'll see my wildcard team and you can give me
Wow.
some advice for the wildcard and see my point of view, and let me see yours. Once again, man, thank you so much for coming by and having a talk. It has been amazing. The hours are just flying by. I don't know how I'm going to shorten this. I don't know if I need to, because we had so many good topics for 4 weeks. Some football chat, some FPL chat, a lot of great things. Yeah.
Love it, yeah. So if any of you guys are interested in my content, like I'm on Twitter at Kanji FPL as well as YouTube myself at Kanji FPL. So thank you so much for all the support. And bro, we'd love to have you on the Twitter Spaces. You did great last week. Whenever you come on, you're like a legend over there. So
Yeah.
people love it when you're there.
Yeah, I will come for sure. I will come and I will try to give advice or receive advice or just have a general chat with your friends there, because they have been amazing,
100%.
especially Cortex, who have been supporting both of us. Thank you, Cortex. You
Yeah.
have been an amazing part of the journey. As Kanji mentioned, I will leave his handles down in the description. Go give him a like, go give him a follow, watch his content. He has some great insights, so I think you will learn a lot from him and you find it being a better manager and a better person watching football. Kanji, thank you for joining me. I hope to see you soon. Subscribe to both of our channels. Don't forget to be present there. Put down in the comment section who do you think is doing better, him with his structure or me with my current points. It's basically like that at the moment. So let's see. It's a
Yeah.
big debate. Palmer, Son, Foden. I have a lot of options there to go for. So any insight is going to be more than helpful.
100%.
Yeah. Okay, Kanji, nice to have you.
Hi, brother.
And for you
Take care,
guys,
bro.
I hope to see you soon. But for now, we'll be heading out. Bye.